What if I told you that everything you believe you know about Jim Jones and Chrissy is a complete lie? Yes, you heard me correctly. But what if I told you that Camron, the same Camron we all know, just destroyed everything they've built in one move? He entered that courtroom and tore apart their idyllic little world, and I promise you won't believe the secrets he just revealed. The twist is that Jim Jones, the man who believed he was untouchable, and that we all believed he couldn't do anything wrong, lost it all in front of the world. He stood there exposed as the walls collapsed around him. And Chrissy, you won't even recognize her after this. Do you really think Chrissy was the do? You really think that Jim Jones, the mastermind behind all of this, was unaware that the truth is much worse than you realize? Camron just revealed a scandal that will leave you stunned. What happens when the people you trust turn against you in the most public way possible? When everything you've worked so hard to build comes crashing down? This isn't just another celebrity scandal, it's the scandal of the year. Are you prepared to be completely taken aback? The situation became more complicated as the days went by, and the public became obsessed with it. Every new leak and rumor only served to fuel the fire. The video footage that had surfaced was a gamaker, but it didn't provide the clarity everyone had hoped for. It was blurry and inconclusive, showing two figures in a car that could have been Melly and his alleged co-conspirator Bortland. But the lack of specific details made it impossible to definitively identify them. Was this the smoking gun that would clear Melly's name? Or was it just another piece of evidence that would further muddy the waters? The prosecution wasn't backing down either, though, and they seized on the footage, pointing out that even though it might not be crystal clear, it still placed Melly at the scene at a crucial time. What was even more concerning for Melly's defense was the revelation about his past, as several former associates came forward and claimed that Melly had made veiled threats before the murders took place. They claimed that the footage was too vague to hold any real weight in court and that it was just another attempt to confuse the jury and create doubt. A tactic meant to sway public opinion rather than present a factual account of the events. As if things couldn't get any worse, Bortland Melly, his longtime friend and co-defendant, finally took action. Rumors had been circulating for weeks about a potential plea deal. And now it seemed to be about to happen in a stunning development. Portland's defense team confirmed that he was negotiating with the prosecution for a reduced sentence in exchange for testimony against Melly. This was a devastating blow to Melly's case because Bortland had been the last line of defense for his story now that Bortland might be turning on him. The prosecution had an insider with first-hand knowledge of the events leading up to the murders. The courtroom was on fire, and the tension was palpable as people wondered if this would be the end of Melly's defense. That his best friend would betray him for a lighter sentence, and that the Free Melly movement would lose steam as more people began to doubt his innocence. However, it didn't end there, as a whistleblower, a former member of Melly's inner circle, came forward and claimed to have direct knowledge of Melly's involvement in the murders. The defense naturally attempted to discredit the whistleblower by claiming that they were merely a bitter ex-associate seeking attention and money. But the testimony, along with the mounting list of witnesses against Melly, was beginning to paint a troubling picture with each new piece of evidence. The whistleblower, who had been granted anonymity for their protection, claimed that they had been involved in the aftermath of the killings and that they had seen Melly dispose of evidence. They also claimed that Melly had confessed to them in private conversations about the specifics of the murders, closing in on him. And then the final blow was a leaked recording of a conversation between Melly and his lawyer that suggested a plea deal. In the recording, Melly seemed concerned about the outcome of the case and talked about the possibility of pleading guilty to lesser charges in order to avoid a life sentence. The recording was devastating because if Melly was really considering a plea deal, it would mean he was willing to admit guilt, which could be enough to convince the jury once and for all that he knew he was guilty and that he was attempting to avoid the consequences of his actions by striking a deal. Denied the recording's authenticity. But by that point, the damage had been done, and the public was beginning to doubt everything about Melly's case. Meanwhile, some of Melly's supporters persisted in supporting him, saying that the system was biased against him and that he was the victim of a massive conspiracy, while others began to feel the weight of the evidence against him. As the trial came to a close, everyone's only concern was whether Melly would be free or face life in prison. The legal drama had become a worldwide spectacle, and social media was exploding with every new development and leak. When the case reached its climax, the most shocking development of all occurred when Melly took the stand in his own defense. His testimony was filled with emotion as he denied any involvement in the murders and insisted that he was innocent. He spoke about his upbringing, his struggles, and how he had always tried to do the right thing. The moment was raw, emotional, and personal, and it seemed to sway some people in the courtroom. Every new twist in the case had celebrities and influencers weigh in to offer their opinions on Melly's guilt or innocence. Courtroom. But the question still stood. Could Melly's passionate plea to the jury truly be sufficient to persuade them that he was innocent? The world would soon find out as the trial came to a close. The jury deliberated and everyone held their breath, wondering if Melly would be found guilty or if he would walk free as a free man once more, despite the overwhelming evidence against him. Regardless of the outcome, one thing was certain. This case had changed everything. The story of Y.W. Melly wasn't just about a murder trial. It was about a system, a celebrity, and the world of fame and fortune colliding in ways no one had ever anticipated. The stage was set for the final act. Would the truth ever come to light? Tell us, because the drama between Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin isn't just about personal betrayal. No, this is a full-on public meltdown. Let's dive into the mess that's making waves on social media and beyond. When Camron took the stand, he wasn't just talking about financial manipulation or controlling relationships. He exposed an empire built on lies, deception, and manipulation. But the worst part is that the public doesn't know everything because Camron didn't reveal everything. His bombs in the courtroom? No, he's been letting those truths slip one by one, and they're slowly bringing Jim and Chrissy's ship down, according to the court documents that Camron allegedly had in his possession. The documents that are currently in the hands of investigative reporters are shocking for one reason. Jim wasn't even the only one who made decisions about his career and finances. Chrissy, who has made a name for herself in the public eye as Jim's ride or die, was actually pulling all the strings behind the scenes. She wasn't just a supportive girlfriend. She was the one making the big decisions, managing the money, and forming the story of their relationship. And that's just the tip of we're talking about more than just a few endorsement deals here. We're talking about offshore accounts, shell companies, and a network of hidden assets that only a select few knew about. All of this was going on while Jim was busy concentrating on his career, believing that Chrissy had his back. However, Camron wasn't finished yet. He took it to a whole new level when he started talking about the dark side. The iceberg, you see? Jim may have been the one in front of the cameras rapping and entering the audience at his concerts. But when it came to the money, Chrissy was the one with her hands all over it. According to anonymous sources close to the case, Chrissy was not only in charge of Jim's finances, but also of managing his public image. Every decision he made and every agreement he signed was planned by Chrissy to preserve the image of the ideal couple they had developed over the years. Now, let's discuss the money laundering component of this situation because, believe me, it's serious. Camron allegedly discovered that Jim and Chrissy had engaged in some dubious financial transactions. By which I mean that money intended for their business was being transferred through hidden accounts into shell corporations and allegedly even used for personal expenses unrelated to their careers. The worst part is that this was a well-planned scheme to conceal their wealth and keep it out of the public eye. And Camron wasn't going to let them get away with it. In the courtroom, he revealed everything, including Chrissy's manipulation of Jim and the financial schemes they had been operating covertly. But according to those same anonymous sources, the couple's dark secrets didn't stop there. They go all the way back to the beginning of their relationship. As a pawn in her complex scheme to gain wealth and power. This wasn't just a love story gone wrong, it was a planned plan to take over Jim's life and future. Remember, Jim Jones isn't just any celebrity. He's a rapper, businessman, and well-known figure in the hip-hop community. But he was being played by someone he trusted. It's almost poetic in a tragic way. Jim worked hard to build his career and establish a reputation for himself. But behind closed doors, Chrissy was covertly making decisions that would affect their financial future and control his every action. But wait, we're not finished yet. Or a relationship drama. It's about public perception, and that's where things get interesting. As soon as Camron revealed the truth about what was actually happening, the public went crazy on social media, criticizing Jim and Chrissy in a way they had never seen before. The shockwaves spread throughout the internet. And everyone from hip-hop fans to onlookers began looking into their past, bringing up all of their dubious actions. People began asking, was everything we saw on TV just a lie? Was their relationship all for show? And Camron said that it was. Then came the part that really hit hard. Jim Jones was no longer the man in charge when the courtroom revelations went public. His empire began to fall apart, and his closest supporters began to turn away, wondering if they had fallen for the lies that Chrissy had skillfully crafted. The damage was undeniable, and the betrayal was real. But the question that everyone has is, where will Jim go from here? The truth is that the damage caused by these revelations may be irreversible. Sure, he is a fighter and a survivor. But this isn't just about a feud with Camron or some made-up drama for TV. It's about his entire public image being destroyed by someone he trusted most. And worse, he has lost control of the narrative, with the public is now questioning everything that Jim Jones has ever said and done. And if you think that things are bad for Jim, wait until you see how Chrissy is handling everything. After everything that has been made public, she isn't exactly winning popularity contests. And fans and even some of her friends are beginning to see her for who she really is. The backlash will only get worse, but we're only just beginning. The public fallout is just getting started, and believe me, this isn't going to be a short-lived scandal. The more people discuss it, the more secrets will be revealed. This roller coaster is just getting started, so keep an eye out because you never know what will happen next. Now that we've delved into the mess, the scandal, and the public chaos, let's talk about the aftermath, because that's where things get even more intense. The courtroom drama, the lies, and the financial secrets are just the beginning. The real consequences are just beginning to unfold. First of all, Jim Jones's public image is in ruins. He went from being a respected figure in the hip-hop community to being the target of mockery and rumors in the blink of an eye. You know how the internet operates? When your entire career has been built on loyalty, street cred, and respect, having your closest allies turn against you is like having your back stabbed. But here's the worst part. His career isn't just personal, it's also professional. Music is barely making an impression on the charts. His brand is struggling. His tours have been scaled back. And ticket sales are nowhere near what they used to be. It's like you're just a hashtag. Jim Jones scammed anyone. And even worse, people are no longer supporting him. It's no longer just about being a rapper with a few hits. It's about surviving the damage to your name, and trust me, this is going to take a toll. Jim won't readily recover from this kind of scandal. And let's face it, no one in the hip-hop industry wants to be the next one exposed for doing business with a fraud. Chrissy Lampkin, on the other hand, isn't doing much better. In fact, if you thought her involvement in this drama would go unnoticed, think again. The worst part is that, although she may have initiated all of this, she is now being revealed as the true mastermind behind the deceit and manipulation. Yes, those perfect couple vibes were just that backstage. Chrissy was allegedly running the show, pulling strings, and using Jim as a puppet in a larger game of manipulation. Although she may have deceived the public for years, she is now the one facing the consequences. The public views her as nothing more than a manipulative figure, and her reputation is collapsing more quickly than a house of cards. Jokes fans are demanding answers and calling for her to be held accountable for the way she managed Jim's career and finances. And let's not even talk about the internet trolls who are having a field day. Chrissy Exposed is trending, and every tweet, meme, and comment serves as a reminder that the public is tired of her. She is no longer viewed as the devoted girlfriend supporting her man. Instead, she is being portrayed as a cunning person who exploited their relationship for personal gain. And that's a narrative that's difficult to shake. Let's talk about the legal repercussions because, wow, things are getting serious. The courtroom drama not only revealed personal secrets, but it also raised there are serious legal red flags, including possible financial fraud, money laundering, and manipulation of business deals. When the law starts to snoop around, you can bet your bottom dollar that things will get messy. Anonymous reports indicate that authorities are currently investigating the couple's financial dealings, looking into potential money laundering schemes, offshore accounts, and hidden assets. These are not just accusations being made in the media. Actual investigations are taking place, and if the allegations are true, we may face serious charges, such as tax evasion and even criminal conspiracy. When the chips are down and the chips are down, the first person to jump ship is usually the one pulling the strings. Chrissy has been accused of manipulating Jim by using his career as a stepping stone to build her own empire. But what happens? When her empire starts to fall apart, you bet she does. And that's the next phase of the fallout. The sources close to the situation say that she's already planning to distance herself from Jim. But she's not off the hook either. The couple's financial affairs, business endeavors, and relationship are all falling apart, and the tension is growing every day. What does this mean for Jim and Chrissy's future? Well, we know that it will be a long and bumpy road, and no one will soon forget the mess they've made. The public is intently watching everything they do, so they better be prepared for what comes next because the truth always finds a way to surface. And in this case, it's already exposed for the world to see. And Chrissy believed they could fool everyone, but in the end, they only fooled themselves. What's happening now isn't just about a failed relationship. It's about an empire built on deception and manipulation, and we're all watching as it all falls apart. Will Haim be able to pick up the pieces? Will Chrissy come out of this unscathed? Or will she be left holding the bag for everything she's done? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This scandal isn't going away anytime soon. Stay tuned, because there's more to this story than meets the eye. This story is far from over, and you want to be the first to know what happens next. So now is your chance to join the discussion. What do you think will happen next? Will Jim Jones recover from this huge scandal? Can Chrissy save her reputation, or has she lost it all? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. I know you have strong opinions about this, so please remember to like this video if you're shaken by all the twists and turns we've uncovered today. If you want more juicy exposés like this one, click the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Okay? Because we're constantly going above and beyond to bring you the authentic tales that you won't find anywhere else. Promise you that you won't want to miss what we have in store for you next. So fasten your seatbelts because the drama is only beginning and it will only get more bizarre from here. Not wanting to miss a moment of it.